Hey everyone, welcome back. Hope you guys had a fantastic weekend. Where I live, it was a great weekend. It was in the 60s, so I did a lot of yard work outside, and you can probably tell I'm a little red from the sun. Got a little bit, maybe too much sun. But we got some good stories to talk about. We got supply shock coming into Bitcoin possibly. We also have Bitcoin getting to maybe 200,000 plus later on this year. We'll talk about that. Miners beat Bitcoin last week, so that was a good week for the miners, and that's more what I would expect them to do, in general, is beat Bitcoin by at least like 1.5 to 2x, something like that. So we'll get into that, and we'll get into Q&A as well after that. Should be pretty short and sweet, hopefully, but we'll get through it all. We'll look at a bunch of data here. So let's get into it, but always not financial advice, for entertainment only. Do your own research, full disclosure below that. Hit the like button, subscribe, helps me out tremendously, and it doesn't cost you a thing. All right, let's get into it here with Bitcoin here on the charts, see what's going on here. So for the weekend, Bitcoin came down a little bit. Right now we're at 93,566. We did close out Friday at 94,708, so we're down a little bit. We do have, however, I just noticed this on the CME futures, we do have a small gap that was formed from Tuesday onto Wednesday of last week, where Bitcoin, the candle wick here up towards like the 92,000 mark. And then we got close to it on Thursday, but we were still off a little bit by about $400 some odd dollars, $500. So we may come down and test that again, get that gap filled in. So that'd be fine if it happens, right? We need a little bit of a correction here on Bitcoin, maybe a little bit, just a little bit, where we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days of green. We need maybe a little bit of a pullback, bring things down into better territory with the RSI and everything else. But things look really good right now still. I'm hopeful this coming week is going to be also a good one. What do we have left? A couple days left in the month. So we should end up with April in the green. We'll take a look at how much in the green. But yeah, Bitcoin right now is doing pretty good. Not too bad. I like what I'm seeing here. Miners, obviously, we're trading over the weekends. We're not going to talk about that. We will talk about, however, the Bitcoin network hash rate. This is on the 30-day average right now. It is at approximately 865 exahash right now. So it's come down a little bit from our peak here that we had on April 19th at 872 exahash. So we're down approximately 72. We're down what? Not that much. 7 exahash or something like that. We're down, so it's not too much of a difference there. On the 1-day average, things look a little bit different. Definitely choppy here on that. On the 7-day, we can see it's been coming down. We peaked on the 7-day at 924 exahash. This was also on April 8th. And we've come down since then on the 7-day at least. We're down to 819. So I don't know why things are getting turned off, because that's definitely a sizable amount there. I don't know if it's the warmer weather that's happening is causing this. Possibly, I'm not sure. But I haven't heard anything else major happening here on it. So we'll see how that goes forward. What else? Oh, quickly, we're just going to take a look at Bitcoin fees here per day. We did have a spike here on Wednesday, April 23rd. Obviously, Bitcoin going up nicely at that point. We had a spike in fees. That went up to 11, and we're coming back down to more of what we've seen here recently, which is about 4, 5 BTC per day, 6 even. Some days we have 7 BTC, 7 to 8. So this is coming back down more into reality, what we've seen here historically at least on it. All right, so there's some stats on Bitcoin, network hash rate, fees, and things like that. Bitcoin currently is still up 13.31% for the month of, for the quarter actually, Q2. For the month, we're up 13.31% here as well, because April is the beginning of the second quarter there. So we're looking good. April's looking good so far, unless we have something major or drastic happening in the next couple of days where we will fall down. I don't expect it. Like I'm saying, I think we might come down to like 92,000 and then continue back up to fill that gap here. Other thing to take a look at here, Bitcoin ETF inflows. We've had quite a few days of positive inflows here recently, and if we tally up all the inflows that we've had on the ETFs for Bitcoin, that comes out to be an addition of 3.169 billion that was bought up by the ETFs in the last, I would say, what is that, 3 days or so, trading days at least, 6 trading days, sorry, 6 trading days. So that's also good to see there that that's happening. And then let's get into some of the things that we have to talk about, which is obviously the supply shock happening here. Dennis Porter posted this on X today. The exchanges are running out of Bitcoin. This is the Bitcoin total OTC desk balance. And you can see this on the chart here. If we zoom in on it, it has definitely been coming down here ever since, well, pretty much when's it been coming down? It's been coming down pretty much since like maybe May of 2022. There are times when it does go up, but I mean, the trend is downwards, right? So supply shock. The OTC, what is that used for? Well, a lot of people use that. Strategy uses that, microsailorite strategy there. They use that. Anybody else that's buying Bitcoin in large quantities, they're buying it on OTC desks. So as that's coming down, that's going to drive up the price as well as more demand happens for Bitcoin being purchased here. So that's a good sign. That's what we want. So with the supply shock, we're seeing also a huge amount of governments and everything else holding Bitcoin here. So Dennis Porter again, breaking over 180 entities now have a Bitcoin treasury, collectively holding over 3.2 million in Bitcoin, right? So supply is squeezing. The next pump will be epic. And it actually might be. That kind of leads us into our next tweet that we have as well. But you can see here on the chart, we zoom on that one, you got private companies, you got ETFs, other funds, public companies, BTC, USD, so that's the price there. Exchanges, custodians, DeFi, smart contracts, governments, right? So governments are right here. They definitely account for quite a bit of it. ETFs have also been buying like crazy. That's the green right there. Private companies, that's definitely been increasing as well. What else do we have here? Exchanges, custodians, that seems to be also kind of, well, it looks like it's kind of less than what we've seen here in the past. And then the orange is DeFi smart contracts. So all of that is increasing. So we got entities holding BTC, 183, 30 days, Bitcoin in treasuries, 3.21 million held right now, 2.94%. So that's, again, a good thing, right? You're getting that stuff off the exchanges and things like that being held for longer periods of time. That bodes well for us, especially if you're a Bitcoin holder. And if you're investing like in the miners, I think this is going to bode very, very well for them. This should definitely help their prices. And we've seen that last week, what they've done compared to Bitcoin. We'll take a look at that in a second here. But that leads us into, could Bitcoin possibly rally much higher than we think right now? So this I've never seen before. We'll talk about this, see if you guys have heard about this. But this is from Sminston with on X. The most natural top zone for Bitcoin in the run for this cycle, in old Uncle Smitty's opinion. The DK channel, OG version, an updated, more bullish version driven by the future predicted volatility, is telling us the range is October 1st, 2025, from 196,000 to 202,000 roughly, and December 31st, but so basically the end of the year, from 206,000 to 213. So this is all based on the most empirical, elegant, and historically predictive top model you will see in Bitcoin, the DK channel model. This is the first time I'm hearing about that. Have you guys heard anything about that? I got to do some more research onto that one. Meanwhile, the DK oscillator is telling us we're not finished, hardly at 30% charge. We all know liquidity is about to come flooding back, and we all know how quickly we can shoot 200% the peak past it along. And here's the chart that he's talking about here. So this is the OG decay channel UB, future volatility adjusted UB support. So there's a support right there. And he's saying that we're going to possibly get to this peak over here where it's like 200,000 right around here by the end of 2025 here, somewhere in this range on it. So that's kind of interesting there. Never heard of it. That's something we have to do some research on. Maybe you guys have heard about it. But that kind of goes in sync with what we've seen from like the power law. Also the, what's the other one? The supply, what is that one? Oh, there's another one. I can't remember right now the name of it. But there's another one that's from, you guys know which one I'm talking about. It's the, it'll come back to me in a couple seconds. In a couple minutes, it'll come back to me. But it kind of aligns with those things as well a little bit here. So, could this be good? Absolutely. It's going to be great for us if it happens when we get to 200,000 by, the end of October and a little bit above 200,000 by December here. But it doesn't say anything where could we go beyond that. And if you look at the chart here, in 2026, we could go up to approximately 250,000, right? Potentially, unless we come back down here and we have a repeat of prior cycles where we peak in this year and then go down into a bear market in 2026. We don't know. I still seem to think that we're going to be in an extended cycle. So if that's the case, we could go up to 250 then in 2026. 2027, we could be above 300,000, right? And just continues up by 50,000 intervals after that. So time will tell. Well, we'll all witness it and be a part of it when it does happen. Right now, we just don't know how it's going to play out. But based on what I've been seeing here with all the adoption, with all the different companies putting Bitcoin on their ledger or in their treasury, We got a new company, 21, right? It's also going to be buying up a boatload of Bitcoin as well, along with Strategy. Other companies are doing it also. So it's just a lot of adoption here. And then if governments and states start up buying Bitcoin as well, I mean, oh my gosh, that's going to be huge, especially as we're seeing the supply shock happening as well. So it could be interesting for the next year to 2 years, I think. We'll have to keep an eye on it and see where it goes. All right, so I'm happy about this. This is going to be great for the miners as well, for Bitcoin in general. So yeah, this is going to be a fun time, I think. So we're going to keep an eye on it to see how it goes going forward. All right, so that's it on the news stories that I have right now for you guys. Let's get into the miners here really quick, how they did last week against Bitcoin, and they did great here. So let's take a look at that here. So on this chart, we always look at the miners versus Bitcoin from 52-week lows and from 52-week highs. The light red is how far the miners are from the 52-week lows, and then the orange are how far away the miners are from the 52-week highs. Okay, so Strategy's outperforming all the miners here. It's up 265%. Core is up 188 in the last 52 weeks, so that one's outperforming here. And this past week, BitDeer, because of how it did last week and performance-wise, percentage gains, it actually overtook Bitcoin again here, getting 100% here in the last 52 weeks increase, while Bitcoin's only up 92%. HUD is at 74, Cypher 65, IREN is at 57, Bitfarms 53, Marathon 45, Hive at 42, Cleanspark at 39, and Riot at 25% there. Okay, and then you can see how far away they are from their 52-week highs, with Bitcoin being the closest there, followed by Strategy only being 32% away from its 52-week high. So it is getting close to where it was, right, around 500 some odd dollars at one point. So that's growing. And then here is the performance of the miners here past week. We see Bitcoin only being up 12%, and pretty much every single miner has outperformed Bitcoin, including Strategy there, by a certain amount. But most of these guys did at least almost like a 2x of what Bitcoin did here. And that's what we really want to see here, is the miners outperforming here. So Bitcoin was up 12%, Marathon was up 13%, Strategy up 16%, IREN 17%. We had quite a few that were 20%. We had HUT, Cleanspark, Hive, along with Riot. Then we had Bitfarms up 23%, Core up 25%, Cypher up 30%, and BitDeer up 38% last week. It was a fabulous week for them last week. Things look a little bit different for us when we look at 4 weeks ago. At that point, Bitcoin's up 13%, and we have a couple that have lagged it. IREN has lagged it here. IREN's only up 10%. Riot also only 9%, and everybody else has outperformed it by at least, the majority of them have outperformed by 2 to like 3, 4x. With Core being up 16% here, just a little bit of outperformance, along with HUT 8. Then we got Marathon being up 27, Strategy up 26, Cleanspark up 23, Hive up 28, Bitfarms up 34%, right? So pretty much close to a 3x on that one. Cypher up 47%. That one's pretty much up almost 4x. And then BitDeer up roughly 2.5x or so, being up 31% there. If you look from 12 weeks ago, well, things really look different there. Bitcoin's only up 9%. None of the miners have outperformed it. The only one that has outperformed it is Strategy, up 28%. We have Core up 7%, Cleanspark up only 2% here, and then everybody else is down here. The most down was Cypher, 21%, followed by Bitfarms, and then 15% for IREN, and then a couple here in 11%, Marathon and Hive, and then we got Riot at 7% and BitDeer at 4%. And when we look at the 12 weeks chart, well, things look even worse. So going back 3 months here, Bitcoin's down 2%. Only one that's doing better is Strategy, up 13%. Marathon's down only 15%. Cleanspark's down only 20%. And then what do we got? Cypher's down 48%. So that's maybe why we're seeing Cypher kind of getting a bounce here, along with BitDeer being down 37%. IREN's down 48%, along with Cypher there. And then we got HUT 36, Hive 37, Riot 33 down, Bitfarms 27, and Core 34. So interesting take on how things have played out over the last 8 weeks. 4 weeks are definitely looking much better here. Last week was fabulous. It was great to see the miners doing well. And then we can see that on the chart here at the table. It was a wonderful green week, not only for Bitcoin, but for everybody else as well. So love seeing that, much more so than I do seeing all the red here that we saw for the last 12 weeks or so plus. So we are turning things around potentially here going forward, which is a good sign here for us. All right, just a quick look at the stock performance for the guys here on different time frames. Looking back to the beginning of Q4 of last year, We can see that Bitfarms is down 47%, Hive is down 39%, CORZ down 29%, IREN is down 15%, Cypher up or down 13%, Marathon down 5%. We got Cleanspark actually being up 4%, Riot being up 9%, almost 10%, HUT being up almost 16%, Bitcoin's up 39%, and BitDeer up 51%. So if you bought in back then, some of these guys are doing pretty good here right now. From the middle of last year, beginning of second half here, things look definitely different. Bitcoin's up 34%, and none of the miners are in the green here. We saw definitely a lot of the miners getting beat up, especially some of the pure play miners. At that time included Marathon, Riot, and Cleanspark. Those guys have definitely gotten beaten down here. You can see that as well over here, more or less. Bitfarms too, right? Not getting to their targets and everything else didn't help out. Then when we look at from the beginning of last year, well, CORZ Scientific has outperformed. It's up 141%. Bitcoin's up 88%. BitDeer's up 18%. HUT 8 is up 6%. And then you got everybody else down here. Bitfarms being still the worst performer there, being down 63%. And everybody else, as you can see that on the chart. And then price from the basically the bottom of the bear market here, which is roughly January 2023, December 2022. We can see that IREN is up 450% almost. Bitcoin's up 407%, so IREN has outperformed. Cypher is pretty close to Bitcoin here, 381,000. Cleanspark pretty close to as well, 348%. Marathon's up 320%. HUT 8, 227%. Core up 141. Bitfarms 141. Riot 130, and Hive is only up 16%. So Hive over the last basically year, would have been a year? No, it would have been 2 years. 2 years and a quarter here has done the worst. Not a lot of growth in the past. Maybe that'll change for them this year when they do grow a lot larger at that point. And then when we look at the beginning of this year, well, things look again differently here. From beginning of this year, we got BitDeer down 53%, right? But then we saw it last week doing really well. So maybe this is why. They got definitely beaten down here. CORZ down 42%, Hive down 42%, HUT down 38%, IREN down 37%, Cypher down 36%, along with Bitfarms. Riot down 25%, Marathon down 16%, Bitcoin down 12%, and Cleanspark's only down 4.6%. So Cleanspark has been, at least this year, doing at least better in regard of not falling as much as the other ones have, and being a little bit better than Bitcoin here. So that is it. We look at this from time to time. Every once in a while during the week, we'll take a look at it, see how the miners are doing at any one time. And that's it. That's all I got for you guys here. So let's get into Q&A. We'll call it a day. And then also, spreadsheets will be available for you guys tomorrow. I'll get that updated as well for the Patreon members. Link for that is down in the description. It's a couple bucks a month if you want to take part, help support the channel as well. Helps me out tremendously there. So thank you to all the Patreon members. Really appreciate your support there. And yeah, let's get into Q&A. But reminder here, we got some miners that are going to be reporting their quarterly results here for Q1. We got Riot basically 3 days away right now, so we're going to be getting that later on this week. And then the following week, we're going to get Core, HUT 8, Mara, and then we're still waiting on some of the other ones to report when they're going to be releasing their numbers. All right, well, let's get into Q&A here, see what you guys have to say, if anything, and we'll call it a day. As always, if you could preface your questions with a question mark, I'm going to scroll up to see if there's any questions and work my way down. So be patient. I will get to all your guys' questions in time. Okay, let's see what we got here. Minor Degen says, we're headed back to 85,000 in the next 1 to 2 weeks. I don't know about that. I would have to disagree. But we'll see. You might be right. Okay, let's see. Jackie says BTC will hit 100,000 coming week. So we got some different opinions there. Hive give us some good news. Hopefully the news that I just provided you guys with supply shock happening on Bitcoin on OTC desks and the possibility of Bitcoin getting to 200,000, that's really good news. Let's see what else we got here. Okay, B82 has a question. Seb, do you have a total Ethereum HODL over time? Are they at high now or down from peak? Good question on that one. Let me see if I can pull that up. If there's any, probably I don't have the data on it. This is provided by Farside Investors. I think, let's see, total, it looks like still, I don't know if they're back at the peak, but they're at total of 38 billion here, looks like. Maximum was 1.3 billion, I guess, bought in a day. I'm guessing the average is 118. Minimum was, yeah, I don't know. It doesn't say here. Let me see Bitcoin spot ETFs, total cumulative flow. So it's definitely down from the peak here where it was maybe right around here February, but it's coming back up here. I mean, you can see this bar chart coming up here. Bitcoin spot ETF cumulative flows. So who's buying the most? Let's see, total. I mean, you can see who's buying, but yeah, so they're buying more here recently. So it's not back to the peak yet. I guess there's your answer to it. Okay, let's go back here. All right. Question, are you still following stocks? I own BBI, defense stocks similar to Palantir. Wait for 315, buying more. Cleanspark on weakness. I'm not following the other stocks. I'm looking more into the AHPC AI plays like data centers, AI companies and things like that. I got to get you guys one of these things that I've been researching here, hopefully this week. It's going to be kind of slow until we get the monthly updates happening after we get into May. And then we'll have obviously the quarterly results as well, but I'm hoping to have at least a couple for you guys ready this week. All right, let's see here. Glassnode shows 2.26 million BTC on exchanges. That is not supply shock. 2.2, I mean, that's a lot, but how much of that has moved actually, right? So a lot of it could be also that it's being held. But if you're looking at the OTC desk, which a lot of these guys, the big guys, are buying through, that's a supply shock. They're gonna have to buy basically whatever is on the market, possibly at that point. So that's kind of what we're looking at. Let's see here. The Plugabytes, thank you so much. Jersey, stock to flow. There you go. Thank you. That was the one I was looking for. The other way to possibly gauge where Bitcoin's going to go. We got stock to flow. We got now I'm forgetting the other one. The one we just talked about here. So yeah, there's quite a few of those ones that we can take a look at. All right. Can you show the miner versus BTC chart using market cap? Miners, I don't think I have that chart. The only thing I have for market cap on these guys is, let me see here, market cap. Where is it at? Miners comparison, BTC hash rate. I'm looking through all my charts here that I have. Break even market cap. This is the only thing that I have for market cap on miners here. Shares outstanding market cap, 3-month revenue versus market cap, 12-month revenue versus market cap multiple. So yeah, I'm not sure what you're actually looking for between Bitcoin and the miners there. Comparison. All right, that's what I got there. Let's see. All right, Heinz's got a question here. Who wants it to dip this week for more buy opportunities, or y'all have buyer's fatigue? I'd like it to dip, but not now. Maybe in 4 to 6 weeks when I have cash to buy more. I'd like to see it dip then, but I doubt we're going to dip down to where we were. At least I don't think so, but we'll see. Okay. What else? Question here. This is important, Seb. When Lambo? Lambo for me, never. I don't know about you guys, but I'm not buying a Lambo anytime. But I think we might get to be able to purchase Lambo by the end of this year. If things progress the way we're looking at them progressing, I think we might be at a really good spot by the end of the year. All right, Kenny's got a question here. If you had to guess which month will be the best month for miners this year, which month would you pick and why? Oh, gosh. I think, well, I mean, depending on the gains that we have here. So if we do get to Bitcoin being at 200,000 by the end of October, that might be the time where they're probably like peaking at that point, I would think. So I would say maybe, I mean, that's tough. I mean, they could front run Bitcoin. So maybe in September, maybe that might be their best month. Only if Bitcoin gets to Bitcoin's running fast and getting up to 200,000 by October, I would think maybe September might be the best month for them. And then Bitcoin, like they're saying, Bitcoin gets to 212,000 or something like that by the end of the year. A lot of that growth is going to be in, so I'm thinking maybe September, maybe. All right. Let's see. Question, Bitcoin even gets back to its all-time high. Where do you see Cleanspark and Mara? Well, all-time high is only 109,000, right? We're only, approximately 15,000 away from that roughly, right? If my math is wrong. My math is correct. 8 and then 9, so actually like 17. 17,000 away from that. That's not a lot of percentage gains for Bitcoin, so I would think the miners would be, Cleanspark and Mara would be at least, another 40, 50% higher maybe. Something like that, depending on where Bitcoin goes. But that's kind of where I would think they would go. Where do you think Bitcoin will be in 2030? A million? I would think so, yeah. In 2030, that's 5 years away. Depending on how much adoption we have here, do we get states buying it? Do we have countries buying it as well? All that stuff is in the works right now. So if we get that stuff in, Bitcoin could possibly get to a million, I would think. You know, if you get to 250,000 or something like that later on in this cycle, and then if it's an extended cycle, then yeah, I mean, it's possible that we could get there. Especially when we have the next halving event in 2028. That's going to cut the supply again, so it's going to be even harder to get Bitcoin at that point, right? See, if Bitcoin breaks 100,000, what price would you be worried if Bitcoin continues its rally while miners struggle to catch up? All right, so if Bitcoin breaks 100,000, what price would you be worried for the miners if Bitcoin continues to rally while miners struggle to catch up? Right now, the miners are actually outperforming Bitcoin here. At least last week they did, right? They did a nice job there. So if they don't continue to at least keep up with Bitcoin or outperform it slightly, then maybe I would start to get worried over a longer time frame. But right now, what I saw was last week was very, very encouraging, at least. So we'll have to wait and see on that one. Let's see, can we see the miners' price plus minus percentage since tariffs of April 4th? Let's see if we can do that on the chart. Let me see if I can change the date on one of my charts here. Where is it at? Cleanspark, weekly stock performance, there we go. So let's see here. Let's go to here. Since April 4th. So let's do it on this one, right? We'll just change this one from 1/2/25 to 4/2. Right, so 1/25, where is that one at? 1/4, I think this one. Yep. All right, so let's do that. So let's go 4/2/25. There we go. Okay. That didn't change anything, did it? Did that change? For us to change the pricing on it, let's see. Am I looking at the right one? 4/25. Let's see. Edit data. Where's it pulling? Oh, it's pulling from that one. Okay. So bear with me. Let's undo that change. Okay. There we go. 4/2/25. All right. Let's take a look at it here. All right. So here it is. This is from, so disregard this. This is from 4/2/2025 since the tariffs came in effect, right? The whole business on that. We can see that Bitfarms is doing the best. It's up 20% here from that time frame. Cleanspark's up 12%. Bitcoin's up only 2.59%. Marathon's up 15%. Riot's down 3%. Cypher's up 16%. IREN is down 3.25. HUD is up just barely. Hive is up 11%. CORZ Scientific is down 1%. And BitDeer is up 11%. So, yeah, the miners are outperforming Bitcoin since then. At least majority of them are, right? Some of them are still down, but that's kind of the way it looks. So, kind of interesting there. All right, let me undo that change there. And maybe we'll put another chart in here to look at from 4/25 from when the tariffs hit. We'll put that one over here. I'll do that. I'll put that one in next time. That was a good one there. All right, let's go back to Q&A. See what else we got here. Kenny's got a question here. What percentage of IREN's revenue is from AI HPC? Right now, it's a small amount. It's about 2.2, 2.4 million per month in revenue last that they updated us. And IREN last month made, here it is. Last month they made, where'd it go? 54 million. So what is that? I mean, that's 3%, 5%, whatever that is going to be. Not even that. Let me see, 5% would have been 2.5. Yeah, so about 5%, 2.5 roughly, right now at least, right? We'll see what they update us with later on. Going back here. All right. Sadie, thank you so much. Likes to help the channel. Absolutely. So, yeah, that's all I got for you guys. You guys don't have any more questions here, which is nice. Well, going to be a short, well, not a short show. It's going to be about 30 minutes long, which is fine. So we'll see what happens later on this week, right? We have quite a few things happening here. We do have Riot that's reporting? Riot's reporting on May 1st, so that's coming up later on this week. We'll see what happens tomorrow with Bitcoin, with the miners as well, see how they are doing, everything else. We'll look at anything and everything else. But then we'll get into the updates of the miners and, yeah, hopefully you guys have a great week. Hopefully we have another repeat of what we saw last week with Bitcoin and the miners. I'd love to see a repeat of that a couple more times where we start getting to much higher levels, not only in Bitcoin, but also in the miners' prices as well. All right. So that's it. Thank you so much for coming in. Love you all. Thank you for taking the time out of your day, out of your night or morning, wherever you are. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Until then, bye.